Brorby's artistic process was based on abstract expressionism and has proponents in minimalism. Brorby's work looks to both facets of abstract expressionism, gesture and color field painting. The Yellow series interplays between Rothko's use of memory and emotion submerged in the layers of paint, Pollock's use of action and automation, and pulls from the art theorist's idea of human action and humanistic emotion as a new and improved direction of art. My research is deeply based in the study of contemporary artists and Brorby's place within it. I wanted to do a visual analysis of all these artists that have influenced Brorby, but I didn't want just more critics' opinions, but I wanted people who haven't seen much of the work at all and have very different interests and studies. So I'm sitting here with Camelia Witt, a senior social work major at Hope College, and this is her first time viewing some of Mark Rothko's work. We're looking here today at number 61, Brown on Blue, 1953. So Camelia, Mark Rothko was really interested in the mythicality of a piece and also how he could elicit emotions from viewing a piece. For seeing your first Rothko here, what do you see and what does it make you feel?
That's a pretty good question. Well, there. All right. So when I see blue is a very peaceful color to me, but then the darkness of it all, it's kind of mysterious in some ways and it's a little sad, honestly. And with the blue just kind of seeping into the darkness, it's almost it seems like there's peace that is seeping into this darkness. And it seems in the top of it there's almost outlines of what I see is skeleton faces, which goes into my darkness theme of it all. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of creepy a little bit. But there's peace around the edges. The blue is just yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the way it molds into it. I got the same feeling of desolation. Rothko used no line. He saw color as the only instrument to express the human condition in his painting. In number 61, 1953, there's a rectangle of black with brown and maroon smudges peeking through the surface, which evokes a kind of anxiety and a sense of being lost, as Camelia was describing. The rectangle then blends into a narrow, pale blue rectangle that seeps and blurs into a murky navy and black depths at the bottom of the canvas, which suggests a type of desolation and loneliness. Brorby's Yellow series is deeply rooted in Rothko's color field painting. In the finished pieces of the Yellow series, the yellow paint has been layered thickly, various shades of yellows and oranges mixed with different shapes that tell an emotional story cloaked in paint. I'm also sitting here with Emily O'Connor, who's studying geology, economics, and music. She's also seeing Frank Stella's work for the first time, and we're looking at The Marriage of Reason and Squalor 2 from 1959. Emily, what do you think upon seeing this piece?
It's like seeing one of those visual tricks. It seems like it's sucking you into the painting. The lines of it almost remind me of the grandeur of maybe an old building. It reminds me of money a lot, so maybe a bank. Walking down the hallway of a bank with the gold inlets and ceilings and everything.
Mm-hmm. Is it something about the structural quality of it, the squareness? It makes you think institutions, or?
Yeah, it definitely does. It reminds me of something that's very rigid.
Brorby's use of line recalls the abstract expressionistic and minimalistic work of Frank Stella. In this painting, The Marriage of Reason and Squalor 2, Stella uses a line gesture which is tactile, but placed against the smoother ground, it creates a kind of frontal assault on the viewer. The stripes seem to suck the space out of the image, making the painting look at first flat, but in fact is anything but inert. Stella learned from Pollock, Newman, and Rothko that the possibility of space is not limited by the materiality of the paint. As Emily was describing, Stella creates space conundrums with the stripes drawing the viewer into the image and then takes the viewer out to the edges of the painting by following an edge or running stripes into it. The thickly applied enamel paint pulls the viewer back into the surface and out from the wall. Along the thin channels of raw canvas, the painting slightly deflects light, which creates an indeterminate surface, which makes the stripes at times seem to appear anchored to the canvas, while at others they seem to hover just above it. The Marriage of Reason and Squalor 2 is also a part of Stella's series of black paintings of 1958 through 1960. Like Brorby, Stella's series seems to explore an emotional feeling, albeit darker in Stella's work, yet equally bent on rigorous problem solving. Like Stella's black paintings, the lines draw the viewer out to the edge of the painting. Then the quality of the thick yellow paint and slight forms and color variations submerged in the yellow surface draw the viewer back into the surface of the painting. So I'm also sitting here with Gabby Dyke, who is studying chemistry and Spanish, and she's also senior at Hope. I'm showing her Harry Brorby's 31A, which has no date, but it's a part of his series called the Yellow Series, where he created over 140 of these paintings. But Gabby, I want you to do a visual analysis of this for seeing it the first time.
So looking at this painting and kind of having seen the ones he reworked, to me it's a little interesting. I think my first impression was it looks like a pair of legs. But the more that I look at it, I think it's kind of cool how when you go from one side to the other, the yellow paint tends to get a little bit darker, and I'm not sure if you meant to do that. Some of the black lines are darker than others.
Brorby said that his stuff was like all about emotional searching, and in these like continual renditions of these paintings. Does this painting make you feel anything emotionally? Like what are you getting out of it?
I don't think it makes me feel anything emotionally because I'm a little confused by it. But I guess like if I was supposed to think deeply and stare at something, there's like not a lot to look at. So I think I could focus on my thoughts while looking at it.
Brorby's work, specifically the Yellow Series, demonstrates a spontaneous searching explored in each painting on an emotional and philosophical level. There is a recording of his artistic process as he navigates from one painting to the other, as each painting is a reinterpretation of the painting before it. Brorby would paint only a small white and black line on the yellow canvas. The next painting, it would be enlarged to where the white and black is almost as dominant as the yellow portions. Brorby's Yellow Series has a calm and meditative and seemingly rationalized approach. The layers of carefully applied color are used to evoke feeling and lead the viewer to understand the human mind, emotion, and the artist's disposition. Although understanding abstract expressionism and minimalism is hard even for someone who studies art, Brorby in his Yellow Series is letting the form speak instead of a clear narrative or figure and explores the very complicated terrain of the human mind and expression.